Alright guys, this is going to be somewhat of an expansion pack on my last tutorial, which I titled Diagonal Plane Cap with Buzzsaw Weave. And if it's not in the related videos of this video, you should be able to find it on my YouTube channel, and I'd suggest you watch that video first before this one, because you're going to want to know how to do that move. And the last tutorial I made was on this move, which there was a lot of talk about on the tech board page, and it is a move that I first saw Michael Parisi do in his Flowtech number 5 video. And there was a lot of talk on whether or not this was or wasn't an inversion. And the part of this move that could be considered an inversion is this weave right here, which I was later informed is referred to as a tilted axis knot Coleman weave. And I don't know why it's called that. I mean, if it's not the Coleman weave, I feel like it deserves a better name. Anyways, you're going to want to learn how to do that move. But essentially, this move is somewhat of an inversion. It does involve the poi passing in between your arms, but it's not necessarily fully inverted because only one poi inverts at a time, as opposed to both poi doing inversions. And I've been playing around with this move for quite a while, and I found a way to where you can do this move with actually putting a fully inverted weave in there. And essentially, the first move used a cap that was anti-spin pedal, in-spin pedal, just like this. And you kind of linked them together with this inside weavy thing in order to make this cool move. Now, if you are going to put a full inversion in there, it actually involves the cap to have an extra beat right there. So I don't know if this would even be considered a cap, but in order to fully invert both poi, you have to have that extra beat in there. And essentially what this inversion is it's just like this kind of inversion, except for with the poi tilted at an X, as you can see right here. And this inversion alone, like so, took me a while to get, and as you can see, I'm not using the same poi I used in the last video because I have trouble doing this inversion with my big clunky contact poi. So I hope you can see these well enough over the background. I know the orange one can kind of disappear if it starts moving fast enough. Anyways, so you're going to want to start by just learning how to do that basic inversion at a diagonal plane. And it involves kind of, getting your elbows sort of up out of the way in order to sneak the poi through. But essentially, so if you've got this basic knot Coleman weave, as I will reluctantly call it, if you have this, what you're going to do is when, say, the left hand crosses over, what it's going to do is it's going to cross over and then come up through the middle of your arms. And then the other poi will follow it. And it looks like this. Now essentially, go ahead and demo the complete move for you. If I'm lucky, I won't mess up once during this tutorial. But, or I guess if you're lucky. Anyways, this is the move. When I was playing around with this, I taught in the first tutorial that when you break out to this side, when you come back, you put the top arm on top of the other arm, and then come out to this side. And when you do that, you can go into an inversion right there, but as you'll notice, I exited to the same side I came in from. So if you want to play with that, or play around with that for a little while, you can start with this move, and then you can throw the inversion in, go back to the same side, repeat the first move, then when you get to this side, throw the inversion in and exit on the same side. You can play with that around, or play around with that for a little while. And so essentially what you really need to practice is doing this inversion and exiting out to the side. Now, if your left hand is the hand that leads under your arm, you're going to exit to your left side. And obviously, if your right hand's the one leading, you exit to your right side. Now, in order to do this move and have it to where each time, if you come in from this side, you exit on the opposite side, as opposed to coming back with the top hand on top of the other hand. You actually just want to come back into this position and then go into the inversion to get to the other side. So normally, like when you come in, it's the leading top hand that does the inside swing. So when you're doing this cap right here, you want to make sure, and after teaching myself how to do this first move, it was kind of hard to reteach myself how to do it with the inversion because it involves coming in with the other hand on top. So from here you want to come in and then scoop it into the inversion, just like so. And so I hope you guys have fun with that, and while I have your attention, I'm going to show you another thing I was playing around with, some cool transitions from this original move that might help you find interesting ways of getting in and out of it. And one thing I found that and you can actually practice this with just this cap without doing the inside passes, but when you come from either side, you can stall in this position right there with one poi pointed in and one poi pointed out. And when you do that stall, it gives you the opportunity to change the plane that one of them is in, so you can go to this diagonal plane, and then switch to this diagonal plane, and then from here, switch back into the original move. So I will show that one more time, all linked together. Essentially, depending on which way you stall, when you pull out of it, you'll either be spinning in reverse or forwards. Well, it's kind of hard to call it reverse or forwards since the poi aren't spinning in the same plane. But if you think about it as doing a buzzsaw in forwards and then bending your planes out, you could call this spinning in forwards, even though it's kind of hard to relate the poi to each other, being that they are in separate planes. But if you do the stall and your right hand is pointed forwards, you want to break out of it to the right side to end up spinning forwards again. And if you do the stall and wait for your left hand to point forwards, then you break out to the left side into the diagonal plane. So have fun playing around with that. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time.